You may not be surprised to learn that Americans do not eat the recommended amounts of vegetables and fruits. However, it may be surprising to you that the decision to buy or not to buy different types of food is not usually something we are aware of. People do not typically visit a grocery store and say to themselves, "I'm going to buy fewer vegetables and fruits today." They just go. And when they are there, they move around the store and purchase things based on a pattern they are used to. Today we are going to take a trip to our local grocery store to learn epic ways to go grocery shopping. But first, we have some planning to do. Think about the last time you went grocery shopping. What part of the store did you start in? What was the last section of the store that you went to?
We usually start by getting the canned and boxed items and frozen items last, so they won't melt before we get home.
To tell you the truth, we grocery shop without spending a lot of time thinking about it. We are on autopilot. It's kind of like driving. After we learn how to drive, it becomes so natural that we don't have time to think about it much. We just do it.
Don't worry, Mrs. Penelope. The majority of us don't think about grocery shopping. The most successful grocery store trips start with a plan that usually consists of a weekly menu and a grocery list built from this menu.
Really? How so?
By making a list of foods before you go to the store, you will be less likely to fill your cart with unhealthy impulse purchases. Planning out a weekly menu and making a list based on those meals can help you fill your pantry, cupboard, and refrigerator with nutritious foods for you and your family each week.
How can we learn to plan and shop like epic kids?
Glad you asked this question. First, before we head to the grocery store, let's spend a few minutes building a menu and a grocery list for at least 5 dinners this week. Start by choosing 1 vegetable, 1 legume or lean protein dish, and 1 whole grain for dinner. Do all of you know what legumes are?
I'm not sure.
Legumes are the seed of a plant. For example, beans and nuts are legumes.
I chose a bell pepper for a vegetable, grilled chicken for protein, and a whole wheat tortilla for whole grain. I will make it a delicious burrito. What about you, epic kids? Can you plan a dinner?
Next, let's plan our remaining 4 meals using the Epic Kids recipe cards in front of you. Pick the foods you would like to make for dinner and then flip the card over and check out the list of ingredients.
I would love to have stovetop mac and cheese.
But we don't have all the ingredients.
No worries. Add them to your grocery list. Now go to the next food and repeat. After you have a full list for 1 dinner meal, move on to the next dinner. Epic Kids, it's your turn. With your family, pick at least 4 epic recipe cards you would like to make for dinner. Add the ingredients you do not have to the epic shopping list and take it with you next time you go grocery shopping. After this quick and easy planning, we are now ready to take our list to the store. Besides planning our meals, I will teach you simple and easy ways to increase the amount of healthy foods you purchase and eat. We will make it an epic supermarket half-cart challenge. Our goal is to fill your cart with whole foods instead of processed foods. No need to count calories or grams of fat. Simply choose whole foods as much as possible. These are the foods that are a recognizable product of nature instead of packaged foods that are a product of industry. For example, look for food in the original shape that they would come out of the garden in, instead of foods that look like they have been changed with added colors, added flavors, and made into funky shapes.
Do you mean choosing a whole orange instead of orange juice, or a baked sweet potato instead of potato chips?
That is exactly what I meant. Usually when foods are processed in factories, they add salt and sugar, which makes these foods less nutritious. Let's begin our challenge by making the half-cart rule of thumb, as in half your cart should be filled with fresh or frozen produce or salad stuff. Let's begin by dividing your cart in half with any items that you may have on you that can work as a divider.
Let's use my belt.
We are ready to begin our shopping. Let's begin in the produce section when your cart has the most room for fresh produce.
Let's get spinach, carrots, tomatoes, and cucumbers.
What about some oranges, apples, bananas, kiwis, and mangoes?
Yes, fruit too. Look, Professor Poe, our cart is getting filled with fresh fruits and vegetables.
You are both doing great. Next time you do the epic supermarket half-cart challenge, remember to fill your shopping cart the same way you fill your plate. That is, half of your cart should be filled with fresh or frozen vegetables and fruit.
That is an easy way to remember how to do the challenge.
Next, let's fill the other half of your cart with whole grains, protein, and low-fat dairy products.
For the low-fat dairy, can we get some cheesecake Greek yogurt? We can have it for dessert.
Sure. What about eggs and beans for our protein? How does that sound, Calvin?
You know, I don't really like beans, but if you use one of our Epic Kids recipes and make them into something delicious, then I'll give it a try.
Great idea. Let's take our Epic Kids recipes and see if they have an easy and delicious way to make the beans.
Don't forget to get some whole grains too. Those are foods like whole grain breads, tortillas, pasta, brown rice, and quinoa.
I'm so excited to try some of these Epic Kid recipes for my family. Thanks so much, Professor Poe, for all of your helping tips. By starting to plan and cook more, I will save more time and money by reusing leftovers for breakfast, lunches, and even another dinner.
Remember, here are a few tips for successful shopping. Start your shopping trip in the produce section when you have the most room in your cart. Fill your shopping cart the same way you fill your plate. That is, half your cart should be filled with vegetables and fruit, fresh or frozen. The other half of your cart should be divided between whole grains, including whole grain breads, tortillas, pasta, as well as brown rice and quinoa. Protein, beans, eggs, fish, lean cuts of beef and poultry, nuts and seeds. Low-fat dairy. Try plain Greek yogurt for an excellent source of protein.
We did the Epic Supermarket Half-Cart Challenge. Will you give it a try this week? Here are the steps. Have fun! Step 1. When you first arrive at the supermarket, use a purse, backpack, or coat to divide your shopping cart in half. Step 2. Head to the produce section first and then see if you are able to fill your cart like you fill your plate. Step 3. After you have finished shopping, take a picture of your cart and show other Epic Kids and their parents next week.